So you're here because you have the most pimped out garage gym in the universe, probably.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Strict Vision Athletics. Welcome to our page, welcome to our content. We are so happy that you're here. Guys, this is a place where we like to come at you with all different kinds of content. We like to provide knowledge first and foremost, knowledge about exercise, knowledge about periodization, knowledge about equipment and what kinds of equipment you want. If you guys are a garage gym operator, if you're a big box chain owner, this channel will be beneficial for you. So the purpose of right now, what I'm going to do is we're going to be doing a gym tour, essentially a gym tour of everything that we have in here. And that for us is a kind of a yearly occurrence. We get so much equipment, so much new stuff every year. So much has changed in 2022 compared to the first time we did our gym tour, and that's what this video is meant to do. We're gonna be categorizing everything in here. I'm gonna walk you through each piece of equipment, what it's for, where it's from, and whether or not I would recommend that you guys get it. Let's dive into it. So here we are, guys, with the very first thing I wanna talk about, dumbbells. I wanted to start here because dumbbells are the most common free weight in the world and should be the most common in most of your gyms. On all of my dumbbells, I have fat grips. Now, fat grips are great. They're outstanding for grip strength, and I love these. These are the Fat Grip Pro Series. They come with a bit of a knurling on the side here, and they can come off. The dumbbells themselves, if you are pricing something like this out, you need to understand this was an overpriced set. By anyone's standards, this was about $5 grand just in shipping. This was another $6 grand in purchase. So you're talking about $11,000 to get these to your door. They go from 5 to 100 all through Captain America. And then down here at my feet, we've got the Venom bells. These are the Monster bells by Rogue. They go 115 and 125. They are a strongman circus dumbbell. Typically unilateral. I don't use them together. They're for single arm exercises if you're doing any kind of power cleans to a single arm full press. You guys know what I'm talking about. That's what those are for. The Donnie Thompson Fat Bells by Rogue, my second favorite form of free weight resistance. If you have a full line of dumbbells that are 5, 10, 15, 20, so on and so forth, in between weights would be rather beneficial. What I love these for the most is that these are designed for rotation. Any exercise where you are doing a wrist rotation involving a free weight, the fat bells are the way to go. They feel incredible. They're perfectly centered in your hand. And if I'm doing something where my wrist is moving, I will oftentimes go for these over dumbbells. I do not see these as a necessity for anyone's home gym or box gym, which is why you won't find them in most box gyms. That and they are extremely expensive. So here we have the Indian clubs and the steel maces all by Onnit. Onnit is an incredible company, and they're kind of the mecca for functional training fitness. Clubs come in pairs, and the maces come individually. You've got anywhere from 7 to 30 pound weight variation here, 5 to 35 here on the clubs, and they are based around the principle of offset resistance. So all the weight in these kinds of things are going to be out here at the head, whereas the handle will be exceptionally light. In addition to this, I love using these for warm-ups. I'll also include this in this little segment. This is the SVA, literally that's the name of this guy's company, ironic, Warhammer. Thing is a beast. Thing weighs about 60 pounds, all in the head, strict vision handle. I love this thing. It's very, very cool. Next, we have possibly my favorite piece of equipment in the gym, period, the end. These are the Onnit Kettlebell Collection, starting with Bigfoot all the way up here to Caesar. Then I got the Stormtroopers, then I got Vader, Boba, and then I have Iron Man and War Machine. Love these guys. Personal favorite of mine, because I painted them. Only the bottom two shelves can you get from Onnit anymore. The rest really are collectors. Unfortunately, these guys are only available through used markets, and you're going to pay a hefty penny for them. Kettlebells themselves, probably the most versatile piece of free weight that you could ever get. But for ballistic training, for HIIT, for really anything other than traditional dumbbell exercises, kettlebells are there for you. So here we have two forms of hammers. You've got the tripod. These are going to be something that is used primarily to mimic dumbbell exercises. Now, some dumbbell exercises, I say that very, very strongly because the heavier you get in these, they just become impractical. Principle of getting these and training with these is very good, especially with the lower weights. You get lower with the weights, you can do a lot of exercises that are going to improve your wrist strength, a lot of bicep work. That's what I use these for a lot. Next, we have BAMF hammers. So these are the second form of hammers that we have here. So BAMF hammer is designed with a very, very thick and dense rubber material for the head. Same principle in that they do have a lot of the weight on one side while very little on the handle itself. But what you're allowed to do with these, first off, you're allowed to slam them on the ground. That's the cool thing about this rubber, is that you can just about use this anywhere. You can slam it in the street, slam it on the ground, your gym floor, and these will just bounce. The BAMF hammer I love. I use this a lot for HIIT training. I use it a lot for ballistic movements. Like I said, I do use it also for isometrics and a lot of slow exercises, but primarily I'll go really, really fast with the BAMF hammer and then really, really slow with the tri-wad if that is something that I'm trying to implement into training. Hey guys, little interruption. Wanted to highlight something that just happened. We actually added a window mirror here behind the dumbbells. So before we just had a straight mirror across, but what we wanted to do was create a sense of inclusion between the newly created PT clinic and what we have here in the gym. So the regeneration room is on the other side of this mirror. When guests or clients walk in, they go in, they see the gym on the right and the regeneration room on the left. That creates a semblance of synergy with the company and with the building itself. For all of those kinds of updates, you guys are going to want to follow all of our pages, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. This is where we showcase all of the upgrades that are literally happening every single day here. Thank you as always, guys, for following our journey. We love and support each one of you. And if you guys have questions on any pieces of content that we discuss, any products that we're addressing, and you want to see more about it, or you want to know if we have an affiliate code, hit us up in the comments below. We'll put a link to all of that in the description as well. So next we have the FitFighter Steel Hose. Yes. The FitFighter Steel Hose holds a very, very special place in the free weight community. It's very unique. There's really nothing else like it. It's a very, very dense, I say it's a steel hose, but it's not steel. It's got steel in the center, but it's like a firefighting hose material. That's what it's made of. And it was actually made by a gal named Sarah. She went on Shark Tank. She's incredible. This fills a gap in the market. There is something about this. When you are training with these, it's very primal. It feels good to grab these things. It feels good to move them around. There are exercises that, for beginners, I have found this to be very efficient. I would say balance, isometrics, and beginner level athletes are the three things that I use these for the most. Next in our assortment of free weights, we have the Caillou Bell. Very, very unique and new piece of equipment here at the gym. So I'm pretty happy we're doing this review now since they've all arrived. The cool thing about these is the variability. You've got 3 different thicknesses of grip for these. They're essentially dumbbells with a twist. You've got 3 different grips, so obviously 3 different variabilities on the size of the grip that you're going to use, and you've got 3 different distributions of weight. The long lever is my favorite. That's where all the weight is now in front of me. It's distal. It's far away from me, and I have to use my wrist. Oftentimes, if I'm doing a press, I'm going to have to balance. This is a tough way to change 10 pounds into 30. Just change the distribution of weight. So you've got your long lever, which is right here. Next, you got your center mass. So that's the second way to grip it. As you can see, the Caillou Bell is centered around my wrist. This one is for an exercise where I want to go heavier, but I don't want to really have to think about balance that much. In fact, my wrist will hit the outer 2 arms, so it really won't go anywhere unless I wanted it to. So that's actually pretty good. So I use these a lot for like chest flies, bicep curls, that kind of thing. And then last, we have the rack. So the rack is going to be here. That's going to be the weight is now all up on top of me. And the thing I use these for the most is shoulder exercises, lateral raises, overhead press, that kind of thing. Anything where you want the weight to just be pulling you kind of away from your midline. So see how it's pulling me away from the midline here? If I'm doing this and I'm raising up, all the weight is kind of on top of me. It's a really good third option. It's probably the one I use the least, I'm gonna be honest. I use the long lever and the center mass the most, and I use the rack the least. But either way, as you can see, I've got 10 through 40, got a decent assortment of them, and these guys are great. And next we have the Steel Bells by Hyperwear. So this is a very unique piece of resistance. I like free weight in all different kinds of types. And of course, you've got dumbbells, you've got barbells, you've got fat bells, you've got squeeze bells. There are so many different things. These are steel bells. So steel bells provide an alternative to plates, essentially. I love them for exercises where I would typically put weight on my person. For example, if I were to do weighted bench steps, dips, if I were to do weighted planks, if I were to do weighted push-ups, I would always have the weight on me in some way, either a weighted vest or the plate just loaded on me just without anything. This is a nice alternative because it's nice and squishy, it's nice and soft. If I drop it on my toe, nothing's going to happen. If I have it sort of placed on my back, it's not going to be uncomfortable or shift. It's a very, very nice functional piece of equipment to have in your roster. When you start really working with these things, you will realize why. They've also got this nice lip on the side, which is good for kind of moving them around. They could replace your medicine balls. They could be used for explosive exercises that you want to throw them, like thrusters. I really like them. Next we have the XPT half rack. So the XPT half rack, in layman's terms, is the most advanced and elite Smith machine in the world. I hate even calling it a Smith machine. There is so much this thing does that cannot even be compared to a Smith machine. First and foremost, the range of motion. This thing not only goes up and down, as I'm sure most of you guessed, but it also goes back and forth. So when this is truly moving, and when I re-engage the brake system, this thing really can do anything. I can take it in circles, I can go up and down, I can go forward and back. It is a true free moving barbell loaded machine. Now, what else makes this special? What I love about this the most is its brake system. This brake system right here allows two big important things. First off, if some of you out there are beginners, if you are somebody who is struggling with an injury or you want to lift heavy, but you're worried about doing so alone, the brake system will help. If you re-engage the brake system, and let's say I was doing bench press and I was going and I came down and I failed and I couldn't make it, let go and it'll lock. Safety, it's great. It's great for that. It's also outstanding for ballistic training. You have the ability here to do something that you cannot replicate safely with any other machine in the world. That is a ballistic barbell loaded exercise. So that means that if I am to bench press, and let's say, for example, I come down with a quarter rep, let's say I take 2, quarter rep 1, quarter rep 2, and I want to hit that ballistic third rep, throwing the bar and letting go, I can do that here because as I pointed out, when I let go, when my hands release, it'll freeze, it'll lock. This is the only way to do that kind of elite training safely. All right, so next we have the Tough Stuff PS245 Functional Trainer. A functional trainer has probably the largest bandwidth of any machine in the world. A good functional trainer. You'll have the ability to change anything, to do any movement based on any body part, really in a small space. And that's what I love most about Tough Stuff. Now, I will say, the argument has been made quite a bit that Free Motion and Tough Stuff are, shall we say, competitors, and that Free Motion is preferred by certain people in the industry. I have always used Tough Stuff. I have used Free Motion in the past, and I have no grievances. Free Motion is an amazing machine. I went with Tough Stuff because when I trained with the NFL, this was the machine they had. In fact, this was the exact same machine they had. I had to get it used, I refurbished it, and that brings me to kind of what I did next. I redid the paint. I did my own custom decals. I wanted a Doc Ock view, obviously, because that's kind of the theme we're going for here. And I used plate snacks. You will get an endless array of movement patterns and exercises based on anything you want to do with this machine. They go to 200 pounds a stack, so that's 400 pounds together. You can get just about anything done there, and if you can't, you could always use some plate mates, and you could throw them on for the magnets, and you got yourself just about everything that I could ever want out of a functional trainer. So here we have our leg press, and this is probably one of those machines that has more options than you could ever count. There are dozens and dozens and dozens of different variations of leg press on the market. This is the one I selected for two really important reasons. The first is the footprint. You will notice very quickly that some of the designs that these companies have come up with for their leg presses, they are enormous. It's like having Bigfoot inside of your gym. They'll be 10, even 15 feet long, 4 to 6 feet wide, and they're just these huge, huge barreling pieces of equipment. Cybex came up with a very condensed but efficient leg press machine. And you've got the capability on either side of this to put like I think we counted out once with the Rogue 6-shooters, you can do 10 plates per side. So 10 plates per side loaded up for a leg press, that's a heck of a lot of weight for me. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I think I would tap out long before that. That being said, it's a very nice machine and it feels outstanding. What I like about it, the second thing that I really did to choose it, was the pattern with which the platform moves when I press. So usually if I'm seated like this, and here's my leg press, and the thing goes up and down, usually that's how these things work. The platform just goes straight down and straight up. This is different. The platform actually kind of rolls with me. So the platform goes up and down, up and down. It's a very nice movement pattern for your knees, for your legs. It just feels much more natural. So next we have the Assault Air Runner, one of my favorite pieces of cardio equipment on the market. I love self-propelled treadmills. I think they're just better. I have never been a big fan of the traditional flatbed treadmill style. I think these are great for two really good reasons. The first is just balance and stability. When you are forced to be the one running this, you are forced to come up with that hand-foot coordination pattern and just be able to improve your running just by being on this thing. And the second thing I really like about this is that it doesn't require a lot of bells and whistles. This thing doesn't even really have to be plugged in. The screen itself is battery operated, and the actual treadmill itself is very mobile. You can move it around. I've moved it a couple times in here, and it's durable. It's a great unit. Assault Fitness does a really good job of making cardio equipment, really just any equipment, but especially when it comes to the runner. I like this. I put my clients on it for intervals primarily. It's very good for sprinting. It's just a really, really good piece to have, and if you are somebody who's got a home gym and you want to put a treadmill with the best capability, I recommend Assault Fitness. So guys, next we have the Iron Throne. Now, before I go into this, I'm going to say we have a playlist on our YouTube channel called the Iron Throne Barbell Review. That is where I'm going to go in-depth analysis on every single one of these. I'm not doing this here for the purposes of this gym tour. I'm just overstating what we have here. I have an incredible array of specialty bars and standard barbells, all from a variety of different companies, all the best. And I can comfortably say that to you right now. Elite FTS, Kabuki Strength, Tsunami Barbell, Squeeze Bar, Rogue, that's what's in here. You've got the best barbells and specialty barbells in the world without competition. Everything in here was hand-selected for a specific reason. Everything in here is designed to hit a certain set of exercises that I knew I needed. I've been doing barbells since the inception of the idea of this company. So these have been here a while. You have probably got somewhere in the realm of $35,000 to $45,000 worth of equipment just right here. A question I did want to address was how I did all this in storage form. That was only possible because of the Iron Throne base, which is down here. Now this is something you can get from Elite FTS. You've essentially got you've got a 15 barbell storage rack here. It's the only one I've ever found. It is a beast too. When this thing comes, it probably weighs 400 pounds when you get it off the pallet. So this base was what really made the Iron Throne even possible to be created. I knew 15 was a large number, but I knew eventually I would fill it up because I had all these specialty bars in mind that I knew I had to get to properly make this a serious facility. So next we have the power rack. Now, what I'm going to say about this, we have other videos where we go into great detail on this actual piece of equipment because this is not, as you can see, just one piece of equipment. It is, but it has so many different moving components that it's almost impossible to get it into one video just talking about it. So if there is something specific that you guys see that you want me to address that maybe I don't get to, please let us know in a comment below and I will make sure to look at that and maybe address it directly. Okay, so where to begin? This is the Monster Light half rack. I chose the half rack because this is a garage gym. Now, in a garage gym setting, you have limited square footage, and I wanted to have this big deadlift platform. I suppose for this video, we could also include the deadlift platform. It is a part of the rack, and it does incorporate almost every single exercise that you do in the rack will have the platform as part of it since you're obviously standing on it. This is, without a doubt, the best power rack that I've ever trained in or, frankly, ever even seen. Again, it's Rogue at its core. It's got a Rogue Monster Light shell, but it's got so many bells and whistles on it, it's almost, like I said, impossible to manage here, but I'll do my best. So we've got, first and foremost, the jammer arms. You got the jammer arms here that have several things on them. This is the Monolift 2.0 by Rogue. This is for power lifts. This is my own adaptation to give different versatility on stopping points for the jammer arms. I'm referring to this little dial right here. The jammer arms go up and down, so they themselves work off the principle of leverage. You can do presses, you can do pulls, you can do explosive movements, you can do isometrics. The jammer arms are incredible. Going off the jammer arms, we have the big spider attachment up here up top. You can see the stringer, excuse me, not spider, stringer attachment. That's this big long arm that sticks out. This serves several purposes. The one that I most commonly use it for is in collaboration with the Henny strap and a landmine attachment. So if I take my barbell, I take it back here, put it in the landmine, string it out, put the nose through, now all of a sudden my landmine has a stopping point to it. So this is probably the most used movement pattern that involves the stringers, is that right there. But in addition to that, as you can see here, I've got different grip variations for pull-ups that I like doing. I like doing a lot of grip movements when I end my upper body days, which are focused on arms. So I will oftentimes just hang from the rocks, maybe hang from one, maybe do pull-ups. There's a lot of different stuff you can do with that. Speaking of pull-ups, this is the Rogue Crown pull-up bar. This is by far the most versatile barbell that I've ever seen on the market. It has 14 different grips that you can implement on this bar itself. There's really no end to what you can do. You can do stuff with bands. You can periodize the resistance up with chains, down with bands. There's a lot of different things you can do, and pull-ups are just a quintessential movement inside of any gym, so you've got to have a really nice bar. At least that's my opinion. Coming downward, I already mentioned these are the landmine attachments. I've got 2 at mid, 1 at the bottom. These are the chain hangers. You can see we've got several things here. We've got the easy straps from Elite FTS, the heavy hanger attachment from AvMat, and then the chains themselves and the chain sheaths are all from Rogue. So that right there is the best chain setup that I've ever seen as well. The sheaths really do make that. If you're somebody who uses chains in your gym and maybe you do have a nice wood floor finish underneath you, you're going to learn really quickly that you do not want dirty, sticky, nasty chains banging and going up and down on your wood floor as you do lifts. The sheaths, the Rogue, I'm referring to this. This is the Rogue sheath. This is essentially like a leather pouch that will go around your around your chain and lock into your carabiner and will allow your chains to stay clean, and more importantly, your gym will stay clean. This is the NV rack. NV stands for non-varying resistance. This does several things. I can drop this down, hook this to a barbell. Now I've got a steady form of resistance from top to bottom. Non-varying is different than bands. Take, for example, if I were to take a band, string it across the deadlift platform, which is what those are for. I'm sure we'll get a million questions on those if I don't answer it. That would give you a varying form of resistance. That band will get tighter as it goes up and looser as it goes down. This isn't the same. This is tight here, 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 and here. It's the same the whole way, so it's non-varying. Very good for priming movements, explosive movements, and cardiovascular activities. Love, love, love the NV rack. So these are the calibrated Rogue Olympic plates. They are the best in the world, in my opinion, for that. They are calibrated to exact measurements. And for someone like me, I got them because they were very cool looking and I could put my designs on them. If I'm being entirely honest with you, I really don't care if my plate is 45 or 45.125. Depending on which 45-pound plate I'm using. But for the big lifters, for the guys that are going for competition, these are very important. So for that reason, I included them in here. I love them. I think they're so sexy and they bring so much life to the rack. Again, I love using this. This is a company called Plate Snacks and I collaborated, created my designs, put them on the plates, and now my plates have some real animation and some life to them. Above them, we actually use the Rogue magnetic collars. These are great for that reason right there. Right above me, we've got the Pure Torque Relentless Rope. What I love about this is one of the few movement patterns that you can do that is upper body high intensity interval training. Upper body high intensity interval training machinery is few and far between. There's really only a couple out there that are focused on that. This is one of them. This rope essentially comes down off of my little storage hook. I pretty much just put a storage hook up there into the stud just so that this doesn't always hang down here and be in the way. But when I'm using it, as you can see, it creates a really tough form of resistance that I can actually adjust. So that's hard. I can go easier, easier, or easiest. Now it goes really easy. So depending on the client or depending on the activity will determine on how difficult I make this. These are the bumper plates. These are what I use pretty much in conjunction with all my Olympic lifts here on the platform. If I want to do snatches, if I want to do deadlifts, anything where there's going to be a lot of crashing or landing of the barbell, I like to use bumper plates. That's what they're for, and heck, if I don't use them for that, what in the world would I use them for? Behind that, we have the micro plates by Rogue that are the bumper plate variations as well. So these are smaller, more condensed version of the bumper plates, just meant to kind of maximize the lift. If you're somebody who's really going for a PR and you want to go, tiny little plates, you can do those, and then you could go micro gains even smaller, but we can talk about that in another video. I think that's just about covered for the power rack. All right, so coming soon, the last piece of this is going to be the PT room. This is the regeneration room. As you can see, it's all themed after Deadpool and Wolverine. So here we're going to do sensory deprivation, hyperbaric chamber, lymphatic drainage. We're going to do cupping, scraping, massage, active relief therapy, tons more. Can't wait for this to come out. So next here we have our combination T-bar row and Roman chair back extension machine. The cool thing about this was made in collaboration with Elite FTS. They make equipment like this, stuff from the ground up where you can combine two pieces of equipment in order to save space. This is probably the best example of that in our gym today. You've got the Roman chair oblique pad, which is right here. Then you've got the T-bar row pad, which is right here. That's the chest up pad for the ladies. Both of them can be used. This would be for Roman chair obliques, for back extension, or for, I don't even know really what to call them. I call them suspended T-bar rows because you're not having your chest supported. You would lie face forward, engaging your lower back, and doing rows at the same time. Those are the three exercises I primarily use this for. And then of course the chest support is for when you want to really go heavy, when you want to do chest supported T-bar rows, wide grip, parallel, whatever. That's what that happens. This arm would come back to the center if I was doing T-bar rows, and then it would rack right here when I wanted to put it away. So next we have the York back and front squat combination machine. One of the cooler ways that I have found to hit legs in a machine pattern that is still backloaded. I like this machine first and foremost because it is multi-use. You've got two positions that you can go here. You can sit with your back against the pad facing outward. This is gonna hit more of a back squat variation, sort of a hack squat position. And then you can switch. You can face forward, put your shoulders here, and now you're gonna be in a front squat position. Furthermore, from this position, I've actually got two more variations that I love doing as far as exercises go. I love doing RDLs. Those are outstanding. That's obviously a hip hinge with very little squat involved, no knee flexion, and then you've got shrugs. Shrugs I like. What I like is that I can actually stand from here straight up and engage the machine with just my lats. It's a really good way to isolate. So here we have the Elite FTS combination lat pull down and low pulley row. Again, this is one of the machines I picked out because it has multi-use. It's got two very, very important movement patterns that I like to implement for back day. Down here is where you would do the low pulley row. Your feet would go on the actual beam. The string or the wire would go up, clip in here, and then the stack would work the same way as if you were doing lat pull down. The difference is when I do lat pull down, this is obviously not connected. I keep it down there. The lat pull down bar goes up here, and then I can do heavy stack lat pull down. It's a great machine. Elite FTS is one of the leading manufacturers for this kind of thing, especially if you are looking for a selectorized variation. I highly recommend going with them. Their stacks are always huge and heavy. They always give you more than enough weight than you could ever handle. And this is a really good machine as well because it's very condensed. It's a nice footprint. Very good for home gym, garage gym users. Next we have here the Elite FTS machine that is used for lying leg curls and leg extension. So, as with all machines in here, it's got multi-use functionality. Lying leg curls entail that your heels are underneath this pad here on the top. You lie down and you curl the bar up with your legs, engaging the hamstrings. The second movement pattern is leg extension. That's going to be seated here, facing forward. Your heels are going to go, your feet are going to go underneath the bottom cushion, and you're going to obviously extend your knees. Knee extension and leg curls are very, very helpful for leg day. A lot of the stuff I do in here is lower body dominant, and just very important to have this kind of a machine somewhere in your gym to really hit those muscles that are used, quite frequently for just about everything we do that's lower body related. Quads and hamstrings are by far some of the most important muscles that you'll ever hit in your whole life. So having this machine is very, very well worth it. Underneath the machine, you'll see I actually put a storage rack as well. Down here is where I actually use my plates. That's where I store them. I designed this because it had this nice gap underneath the machine itself, and I wanted somewhere that the plates would be close. Because this is plate loaded, I didn't want to have to like scour the gym for weight. I just wanted it to be right here. So that's why I added the little storage rack underneath. It's a very, very welcome addition. All right, so next we have our reverse hyperextension and glute ham raise combination machine. This machine has gone through several iterations of advancement. So I got this originally actually from Titan Fitness, if you can believe it. So it originally was a Titan Fit piece, but now it's something totally different. So the pads were custom made by Elite FTS, and then the horns were actually done by myself and my fabricator. And then I've done pretty much customized the colors, added the decal, all that kind of stuff was all me. So it's a cool piece, and it's a very well thought out machine. I love the combination machine, glute ham raise and reverse hyper. I think it is an outstanding piece for any gym to have, corporate or private. It's a very functional piece, very sports specific. And now, just like with a couple of my other machines, I got storage for my plates very close to the machine. You will know this as a trainer. If you don't have your resistance close to the machine it's designed for, you're going to be looking all over the gym and you're going to be hauling a lot more weight for a lot longer than you want to. So having this right here, super easy. Just throw it on. It's ready to go. And the machine is great. It works awesome. It's great for posterior chain development. Very important to have. So next on the list, we have our flywheel system. Our flywheel system is from a company called Eccentric. They're a Swedish company. They've made possibly the greatest flywheel technology in the world. The product, the parts, the actual modifications you can do to this board, case in point, the slant board attachment, it really is incredible. It's an amazing, amazing style of resistance, specifically talking about flywheel. It's very good for hypertrophy, and I like throwing it at the end of a workout. Like if I want to just burn out somebody, I'll throw them on a flywheel technology. So you got the K-Box here. This is essentially, it runs off of all of our flywheel options, and our flywheels, of course, had to have our plate snacks on them. As you can see, each one of these has our own little custom design, which is great. And the cool thing about flywheel is that it runs off of these little wheels are its resistance, so it will spin, and as I move, it spins in reverse. So essentially, it spins when I go a certain direction, then when I come back, I have to force it to go the other direction. The only downfall to this, specifically talking about the K-Box, was that the K-Box was very limiting. It really could only come from one angle, which is from the floor. Into the K-Pulley Go. This is the second flywheel attachment that we have, equally as impressive as the K-Box, especially once I got a hold of it. See, when they first sent this to me, it came with these weird straps that could possibly go onto your rack, I guess, but what I did was I did my own modification. I made an actual rack attachable, system here. So now I can move the K-Pulley Go up and down my power rack whenever I want. This is a one of a kind. This is my little adaptation for their company. But the technology itself is beyond breathtaking and so smart. So the biggest pro that I have found about this thing, in my opinion, has to be the variable change of resistance based on the mobile app. That is so convenient. I cannot even tell you, especially when it comes to hypertrophy. If I am doing drop sets, if I am somebody who wants to change a variable resistance in a short amount of time, this is one of the simplest and most straightforward pieces of equipment that will allow me to do that with the touch of a button on my phone. It's so simple and stupid, especially if I'm training a client. I could tell the client, okay, 5 more reps. They stop, drop the weight. 5 more reps. They stop, drop the weight. So on and so forth. You guys get it. It's so easy. The other thing that I love about this is the wide array of different exercise patterns that I can do. Now, if you're looking at this, you will probably assess almost immediately that the resistance all comes from the same place. It's a very smooth form of resistance. It's not choppy. That was my big concern when I got this. I've used other styles of resistance like this from machines that oftentimes when you pull on them, when you change them, it will sort of skip as you do. Like the resistance isn't constant. And if you're looking for a very smooth machine feel, well, that's going to bug the heck out of you if you're doing it and it's changing. But as it is, the Arena does a very good job of making sure that the resistance stays the same, that if I don't change it on my phone, it doesn't change inside of the box. So next we have our attachment wall in all of its glory. So as you can see, we have just about every conceivable cable attachment in the world. Companies like Prime Fitness, Mag, Tsunami, you've got everything that at least that I could ever come up with for this kind of an assortment of stuff. All of this to say, it's not really necessary to have all of these, but for us and for my purposes, I'm more of a more is more mentality when it comes to cable attachments. I find that I like having a ton of options, and even something as small as just changing something like Prime Fitness Narrow to Prime Fitness Mid is just a way to keep the workouts interesting, keep the clients stimulated, and it looks really cool. It's really fun to have this as a collection. As you can see, they're all mounted on the coolest pegboards in the world. Those are the wall control panels, steel panels that are really good for pegboards. They have a wide assortment of different attachment options. Just a big space saver and organizer. I'm huge on organization. Without this, without wall control, I definitely wouldn't have the attachment wall looking how it is, and the whole gym as it stands would not be as organized as it is either. Starting the outdoor area, I want to talk about a couple things you got here at the very back corner. So first I got my plyo boxes. Everything that I use for outdoor activities, I try to keep organized out here. The plyo boxes are good for outside because if you're gonna jump, it's better to be outside. You don't wanna be indoors where you could hit something. That's right here. Next we have the Squat Max MD. I keep this bad boy outside. It just does really well outside. It's really nice. I have the room for it, and it's a nice little confined space here. It's an awesome piece of machinery to have out here, so that's where I use this. My shed is right here to the right. This is just where I keep power washer, cleaning assortment, anything I use to actually organize or clean the gym. That's what's located in here. Next, we have our ab mat plyo box and our crash pads. The plyo box is probably going to go into the PT room eventually, but the crash pads I'll keep out here because anytime I use any sort of sled or a med ball work slamming or any type of hammer slams, I always use the crash pads for those. Next, we have the flip sled, which I used for a lot of circuit-based training. You can use this as a sled, you can use this as a tire, you can actually tumble it and flip it over, or you can use it for my personal favorite movement, which is lineman drives. That's where I pick it up and I drive into the sled, driving at the 20-yard distance and then pushing it back. Then we have the transportable rack. I use this for any kind of outdoor barbell activities. I like this because it has wheels. I can literally move this in any direction that I want, roll them out, set a barbell up, and do like walking lunges with a barbell outdoors. Next, we have the Torque Fitness MX sled. Love this bad boy. It's an outstanding circuit-based trainer. I use it for pushing, pulling, dragging, anything that I want to do outdoors. It's a great addition to any gym, home gym or otherwise. It works off a magnetic resistance, so it's not actually weight-bearing. It's not like you load it up with plates like another sled. You just turn this on, you can adjust it with the little switch, and then just push or pull away. So I wanted to take a second and talk about the podcast studio. Obviously, this is an ever-changing environment. We're always upgrading some of the things you currently see, but it is nice just in this little escape for me to talk about what it is exactly that we use to create this studio that we currently run out of. So I'll start right here. So these are the mics and the stands that we use. We use the Ultima OC mic stands right here. These are the red and black versions. They're a little bit tough to get. These are always sold out, but these are the top of the line. This is what you'll see in the JRE, some of the other big name podcasts. These are the SM7s, the microphones themselves. This is the most popular podcast microphone. It's a very clear, crisp sound. I really like these. Without going into the background of all the technical stuff and how the actual audio is recorded, this is what it looks like on our end. This table itself was designed by a custom wood designer here in Mesa, Arizona. They did it with a really cool graphic in the middle that they carved out with a laser and then filled with an acrylic. So the table itself is actually a one-of-a-kind piece of artwork here. It's that's the cool thing. I love working with wood. I love that it's really a fingerprint item. There's only one table like this, and there's only one in the world that matches this exact size and shape. So I love having this piece here in our gym only. These are the Sony cameras that we use. Okay, so these are the A6400s. Eli is pretty much the man behind the camera. He's the guy switching between all the transitions, the wide shots, the guest, all that kind of stuff is all ran by the switchboard, which is the Blackmagic switchboard. Oh, the flooring of this gym is actually a blue Shock Turf X. It's a really big, thick, inch-and-a-thick foam from rubberflooring.com. I use that for several reasons. The first is that it's blue. It matches the vibe beautifully. The second is because it is a nice big foam, it absorbs sound so well. After that, we've got these acoustic panels. These are from BNK Acoustic. That's where I got these bad boys. So when you step into our podcast studio, you hear it. All the echo and the reverb is gone. It's just really clear, crisp sounding quality. It's very good. But that's where we're at here with the podcast studio. Hope you guys enjoyed that. So back here, what we have first is our endless pool. Now, this is our one-of-a-kind design. This is something that I worked on for about a year. What it is essentially is a shipping container retrofitted to make an endless pool. The way it works, this back section right here, which is open from the side, this is a big door. Back here, you've got your pool pump, your heating system, and your actual motors. So the way that this works, there's a channel system on either side. Two 7.5 horsepower motors from Balder push the water to the front, channel backwards, and drive the current against you. So you swim against the current from the front. It's a very fun design. It's been a challenge, to be sure, to make this kind of thing, but good things to those who wait. After about a year, we finally have a model that we're getting close to. We've still got some modifications we're making to it, but we're hoping to roll this out in the next month or so, have some real content to show you guys. So here we have the first part of contrast therapy that all of our clients do following training. This is our ice bath. So this we've had for about 5 years now. I've had this bad boy. What we did is we essentially we created a unit where we have the coil system going along the bottom of the ice bath. It's got an ozone filter that runs at night. It basically self-sustains and keeps itself cold at all times. So this water is about 34 degrees, and what we encourage our clients to do is go from call it 2 to 10 minutes, somewhere in there, depending on their level of expertise, following a workout, or even on their off days, they can come, they can get access to this. This is sort of an included upgrade that we have here for our training. It's an outstanding unit, so good for recovery, both physical and mental. The ice bath, I cannot tell you enough how incredible it is to have access to this. And if you are somebody who's interested in this, please send us a message, comment below if you want to know more about what the cold does for you, for your recovery, and for your mental health. Here's where I finish all training. For me, I usually end up in the sauna after just about every single workout. I either do contrast therapy or I'll end up in just the sauna and then maybe do a cold shower afterwards. But either way, for me, I do contrast therapy just about every single night. The clients get to end in here as well. I like to just kind of get in here, stretch out, maybe hit the castle flex a couple times. We made this similarly to how we made the ice bath and how we made the endless pool. This was an in-house operation. We wanted something with the efficiency and strength that could get to about 200 degrees in 10 minutes. That's usually when our clients are done with their ice bath. So we wanted something to be timed to where, especially in the wintertime, if it's cold outside, this unit, which is an outdoor unit, can actually get to that temperature and stay there. And that was more challenging than you may think. We had to do a severe R factor for this to keep it really insulated. The sauna itself has a roof so that it's weatherproof. This is an outdoor weatherproof sauna. So it's not that easy to make something like that and something with the motor capacity to get that hot. But we did it. I love it. It's one of my favorite things about the gym. Hey guys, this is the end of the gym tour video. Thank you so much for sticking with us to the end. I know this was a long one, both for you to watch and for us to create. Believe me, this was definitely the longest format video we've ever undertaken. I think this was shot over the course of about a year. So the gym has expanded. It continues to expand. Now we include proudly a podcast studio, a PT clinic, which is our regeneration room, and all of that will be coming soon. Please continue to follow us. We really do appreciate it, guys. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. There will be so much more content coming in 2023. We're so excited. Online training, again, podcasts. The list of guests we have is astronomical. And the amount of content we're going to be able to bring you guys for health and fitness is going to be the same as well. Thank you so much. Have a good day.